In terms of the magnetic field, how alpha, beta, and gamma behaves, if, for example, they give you something like the magnetic field is going into the screen, magnetic field going into the screen, red of this represents the magnetic field, right? So from here, if let's say, for example, alpha particles are shot in this direction, and beta particles are shot in this direction here, how do I determine which way they deviate again? What hand rule should I use again? Left. Excellent. Why? Because in terms of alpha and beta, if we are given the magnetic field, alpha and beta is very similar like current and electron. Now, in order to understand this, first and foremost, you remember back on how the current flows and electron flow in a circuit law, right? Basically, if let's say I have a circuit here, I know for a fact that current will flow from positive to negative and electrons will always flow from negative to positive. Today, you must be able to associate alpha particles like current and beta particles like electrons. Today, if my alpha particle is being shot in this direction here, what's going to happen is basically you're supposed to use the left hand, your Flemmings left hand rule, your index finger pointing into the screen, your middle finger pointing towards the right, and when you open up your thumb, naturally it will point upwards, indicating that alpha particles will be deviated upwards in a magnetic field if it is being shot towards the right. Okay. Now, what about electrons? What about beta particles? Like I mentioned just now, beta particles are basically like electrons, right? And if they are being shot in this direction here, what is the direction of the current? Right or left? Right. Very good. Excellent. Everyone still remembers. You must always remember beta, which is an electron, always opposes the direction of current. Today, if the beta particles are being shot in this direction here, the real direction of the current is in this direction here. So if you want to find out where it deviates towards, you basically have to use the Flemmings left hand rule again. Yet again, your index finger is supposed to point to the screen. Your middle finger should be pointing towards the left, and thus you'll have your thumb that will point downwards here. Now you can clearly see that alpha and beta particles, beta deviate much more than alpha particles. Why? Yes, excellent. Very good, Lek Wai. Alpha particles are generally heavier, and because of that, it is harder to deviate them away, whereas beta particles are generally lighter. With the same amount of force, we can actually deviate them much further. For it's the same example of pushing a skinny kid versus pushing a fat kid. For the same amount of force, the fat kid will probably just deviate a little bit away from his normal course, whereas the skinny kid will definitely deviate much more compared to the fat kid there. All right. So this is one thing that I actually wanted to really highlight on this part here.